Right now, on to the point. The DOJ now reportedly investigating Eric Swalwell over sexual assault allegations. Tonight, questioning from Congress heats up.
As it raises the question, why wasn't there action taken?
Plus, new insight. Where could Swalwell's support be going after he dropped out of the governor's race?
A few 100,000 votes can make a big difference one way or another.
Tonight, the concerns growing even more over the global fuel supply, the impact on air travel. And later, our champions of hope. The Davis teen brewing up a tradition. Well, tonight, a federal investigation against former Bay Area Congressman and candidate for Governor Eric Swalwell is now reportedly taking shape. Good evening. I'm Alex Bell. According to multiple news outlets, including Fox News and MS Now, the Federal Department of Justice is investigating sexual assault allegations against Swalwell. ABC 10 has reached out to the DOJ for comment tonight, and all of this comes as at least 5 women have now accused the former congressman of sexual misconduct. At least 2 of those women have accused him of sexual assault. District attorneys in Los Angeles and New York have launched their own investigations into those allegations, and more of Swalwell's former colleagues are now speaking out. Tonight, Democratic Congressman Sam Liccardo, who represents part of the Bay Area, is questioning why harder questions were not asked about Swalwell earlier. He says that he's been in Congress for 15 months and heard about Oppo research when Swalwell announced his run for governor in November last year. He says the rumors have been there.
Rumors about that were going on for many, many years. And you can't act individually on rumors, but certainly when you have a swirl of rumors like this, it raises the question, why wasn't there action taken? And equally important, not just what happened here in D.C., but in California, why did so many powerful groups and individuals get behind a man that had so many swirling rumors of sexual misconduct? Why weren't important questions asked?
The White House had similar comments Wednesday.
I think the accusations and allegations against former Representative Swalwell are despicable and disgusting. I think it's also quite plausible, as you point out, Jack, that there were many other Democrats in this town on Capitol Hill who knew about his perhaps illegal behavior, certainly his disgusting and inappropriate behavior. And why were they silent for so long? I think those are questions that must be raised.
The U.S. Attorney in D.C., Jeanine Pirro, says that she also now created a tip line for alleged sexual or inappropriate conduct in D.C. by Eric Swalwell, and also posted a phone number on social media. Now, Eric Swalwell continues to deny the allegations against him. Earlier this week, his attorney released a statement saying Swalwell categorically and unequivocally denies each and every allegation of sexual misconduct and assault that has been leveled against him. ABC 10 has reached out to Swalwell's legal team about new reports of a DOJ investigation. And the impact of these allegations are starting to be seen here in the California governor's race. Tonight, the first polling is out showing where voters stand since Swalwell has dropped out. Take a look at this. An Emerson College and Inside California Politics poll conducted this week shows Republican Steve Hilton leading at 17%. Chad Bianco and Tom Steyer both sitting at 14%. Javier Becerra made the biggest jump from 3% in March to now tied with Katie Porter at 10%. San Jose Mayor Matt Mahan is sitting at 5%, but out of the thousands of likely voters that were polled, nearly a quarter of voters still remain undecided. And that's where we bring in ABC 10's Jeannie Nguyen, who is joining us with more on what all these numbers mean for the candidates in this race. Jeannie, what can you tell us?
Well, Alex, since Congressman Eric Swalwell's exit from the race, the poll clearly shows there's a lot of potential for the Democratic candidates to rise to the top. This also means we could still potentially see a face-off between 2 Republicans come November. We asked political strategists about the numbers.
Looking back at the 98 race, 3% is a few 100,000 votes. So a few 100,000 votes can make a big difference one way or another.
Democratic strategist Andrew Acosta says every vote matters this June. He says it may be too early to tell who may benefit from Congressman Eric Swalwell dropping out of the race. Republican consultant Tab Berg believes Javier Becerra's jump may not hold, but one candidate is catching his eye.
One that I'm paying the most attention to now is San Jose Mayor Matt Mahan, who I think has shown steady growth.
Acosta says Swalwell's name will still be on the ballot, and he's skeptical of former Swalwell supporters quickly endorsing another candidate.
He probably will get some amount of vote, not a ton, but so it's still one of those things that as voters now are figuring out that it's not Swalwell, then they have to figure out, okay, then who's next?
The top two vote getters in the June primary will go on to the November election, regardless of party. Berg believes the likelihood is low for two Republicans to advance to November.
There's a less than 10% chance of a Republican versus a Republican. There's about a 25% chance of a Democrat versus a Democrat. But it's a 65 to 70% chance that it's going to be a Republican versus a Democrat.
All right, Jeannie, so talk a little bit more about what were the top issues that you saw that people still are really caring about.
Well, the number one thing that a lot of voters are worried about is obviously the economy, and that comes in at 41%. A close second is housing affordability, and that was at 20%, Alex.
All right, Jeannie, thank you so much. You already know we're going to continue to follow this very closely. The primary election is on June 2nd. We are just weeks away. The last day to register to vote for the primary is May 18th. Ballots will start being mailed May 4th, and then drop-off locations will start opening on May 5th, with in-person voting centers opening starting May 23rd. And if you do want to hear from all of the 9 leading candidates for governor, you can stream their interviews right now on the ABC 10 app. I interviewed the 7 leading Democrats and also the 2 leading Republicans. Just look for California governor's race on the home screen. All right, coming up a little bit later on To the Point, new warnings about the global fuel supply, what it means for air travel, and where California stands, plus controversy at the state capitol over a new bill involving a conservative YouTube personality.
And temperatures will remain seasonal in the 70s. The winds start to die down tomorrow morning, but I'm tracking a chance for some more active weather early next week. I've got a full look at the forecast after the break.
But first, in other headlines tonight, the 5 people indicted on murder charges for the deadly Esparto fireworks warehouse explosion will remain in jail as the case continues. Each of them appeared in court today during 2 hearings at the Yolo County Courthouse. Prosecutors allege a decade-long conspiracy turned former Sheriff's Lieutenant Sam Machado's home into a hub of illegal explosives. 7 people died in the explosion last July. An ICE officer is now facing felony assault charges in Minneapolis. Authorities say he pulled a gun on a driver who allegedly cut him off in traffic. Prosecutors have issued a warrant for his arrest, saying he acted out of the scope of his duties. The officer says he feared for his safety and the safety of others. And President Trump nominated Dr. Erica Schwartz to lead the CDC. Schwartz served as Trump's deputy surgeon general in his first term. She will have to be confirmed by the Senate. The CDC has been without a permanent director since August. All right, so yesterday, meteorologist Brendan Minchev told us that it was going to be windy, and indeed it was. I actually avoided going outside because allergies, everything else. I'm like, I don't need it this week.
Yep.
Please tell me today's the last day for the wind.
Yeah, the strongest wind gusts were today, for sure.
Oh, good.
We're going to continue to see some wind through the next several hours, though. Tomorrow morning, still likely a little windy, but winds will be coming down. Vacaville, 44-mile-an-hour wind gusts today, 39 miles per hour. Marysville, 37. Sacramento, 32. Stockton, and 30 in Modesto. So that 30 to 35 mile per hour wind gust expectation definitely verified in some areas as expected. Did see gusts closer to 40, and in the case of Vacaville, even over 40 miles per hour. We still have plenty of wind right now. Sustained winds out of the northwest at about 20 to 25 miles per hour, but wind gusts continue to be over 30 miles per hour for most of the Sacramento area and in the Sacramento Valley. That's going to be the case for the next several hours. We're not immediately going to see a downturn in winds. It's going to be a very gradual tapering off. 68 in Sacramento right now, 68 in Stockton, 69 in Modesto, 57 Placerville, 48 in Truckee, and 45 in Tahoe. You can see the camera shaking as we look towards downtown. 68 degrees, again, sustained winds, 23 miles per hour out of the northwest. Friday morning starting off in the 40s, remaining breezy, 40 in Stockton, 45 in Modesto, teens in the high country. Seasonal tomorrow afternoon, I've got 73 Sacramento, 74 Stockton, 73 in Modesto, that normal high 72. So another very seasonal day, another very quiet couple of days after those winds die down. Wind advisory continues until 11 p.m. tonight. But again, it's not an immediate cessation of the winds because even by 11 o'clock tonight, we still see plenty of winds out of the north at over 30 miles per hour. But the focus of the winds is going to be more on the western side of the valley, still down through Vacaville and Fairfield along 505. We'll continue to see some strong winds. This is 8 o'clock in the morning, now 12 p.m. on Friday, and we finally see those winds much less. So again, It's a slow tapering of the winds that continues in towards lunchtime on Friday. Let's pick up Futurecast late Sunday into Monday. This is now Monday at 3 p.m. Seeing some showers coming through. Snow develops overnight Monday into Tuesday. And we'll continue to see rain and snow through the first half of next week. Could see some thunderstorms as well. There's still a lot of model uncertainty here, but we're getting a little bit better of a picture for early next week. It's going to be cooler with some unsettled weather. No weather impact alert days for now, but definitely be ready for a change after the weekend. Alex.
All right, Brendan, thank you. And don't forget, our ABC 10 Weather Impact team is always here for you 24/7. If you do want to check out the latest conditions with our 24/7 radar, you can stream it for free. Just scan that QR code on your screen right now, and it'll give you some easy instructions on how you can download it. But right after the break, we're taking a look at the global fuel supply, the impacts on flights, and also what California is watching for. Plus, in our Champions of Hope tonight, we head out to Davis, where a teen is remembering his father and also planning for his future, one coffee at a time. Tonight, concerns are growing over the global fuel supply as the war with Iran continues. We are looking at the impact, but first, here's Jacqueline Lee with where talks over ending the war currently stand.
Tonight, a critical moment in the Middle East as President Trump says the U.S. and Iran are, quote, very close to making a deal, with second-round talks possibly resuming this weekend. This coming as the president announces a 10-day ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon, something Iran has been calling for, and a potential key piece to bringing Iran back to the negotiating table. But tonight, mixed signals from the president on what happens next. ABC's Rachel Scott pressing the president.
If there's no deal, would you be willing to extend the ceasefire, or will the fighting resume?
I would say the fighting, if there's no deal, fighting resume.
But 5 minutes later, the president reversing course.
If we need to, I would do that.
Meanwhile, the U.S. military says the blockade of Iranian ports is working, squeezing Iran economically.
Captains of all these ships have made the wise decision not to move, transit, or run this blockade.
But publicly, Iran saying the blockade is a violation of the ceasefire. And tonight, Pope Leo, who was traveling in Cameroon, vocal today about reaching peace between the two countries.
The masters of war pretend not to know that it takes only a moment to destroy. Yet often, a lifetime is often not enough to rebuild.
Jacqueline Lee, ABC News, Los Angeles.
As the war continues, the International Energy Agency is warning that Europe has about 6 weeks of jet fuel left. It could lead to flight cancellations if oil supplies remain blocked. The situation is being described as the largest energy crisis ever. The agency is also predicting higher gas, natural gas, and electricity prices worldwide. And here's a look at where our gas prices stand right now. According to AAA, the statewide average is sitting at $5.86 for a gallon of regular gas. Diesel, $7.63 a gallon. That is down 12 cents a gallon after hitting a record high just last Thursday. As global warnings of fuel supplies spread, California is watching its gasoline inventories. According to a new report from Reuters tonight, California's gasoline inventories have declined to record lows as fuel prices have surged nationwide. They say analysts fear the crunch will get worse because the state relies on refined products from Asia. But the state says that they are not predicting a near-term supply challenge. The state has public inventory data charts that are updated every week. Tonight at the state capitol, a controversy is growing over a bill that aims to protect the privacy of immigration support services providers. Republicans have dubbed it the Stop Nick Shirley Act. The conservative YouTube personality has been critical of hospice fraud operations in the LA area. Tonight, Republican Assemblymember Carl DeMaio posted on Facebook that his motion to stop the bill was stopped, saying, quote, "This insane bill would make it a crime for citizen journalists to post videos of left-wing groups engaging in fraud, an unconstitutional law to hide fraud from taxpayers." Assembly Bill 2624 is authored by Democratic Assemblymember Mia Bonta. Bonta says the bill is intended to offer privacy and anti-harassment protections to organizations that provide immigration support services. Assemblymember Josh Lowenthal is a co-author of the bill.
Ms. Bonta is not looking to silence anybody and certainly not wanting there not to be dialogue about anything out there. What is really more about making sure that anybody who's operating in the public sphere is safe from violence.
Nick Shirley was at the Capitol on Thursday morning attempting to talk to Lowenthal and other lawmakers who authored the bill. The bill will be heard again on Tuesday in the Assembly Public Safety Committee. We're back after this. Breaking news, 3 people are hospitalized after a crash involving a SAC RT train. This is at Folsom Boulevard and Mills Park Drive in Rancho Cordova. We do have a crew on the way, and we'll bring you the latest tonight at 11. But you already know it's Thursday, which means each week on To The Point, we feature our champions of hope, talking with people in our community, spreading kindness and also making a difference. Now, for many of us, coffee is a part of a daily routine. But for one Davis teen that I caught up with, each cup means much, much more.
Still very green right now. All right, this first batch is getting close.
In this backyard in Davis, there's a coffee roaster that's been around for decades.
My dad had always been roasting coffee pretty much since the first times I can remember.
It belonged to Harvey's father, John.
He learned on the same machine that's behind me now. He was taught to roast coffee and then just passed it on.
That knowledge and that machine passed down to Harvey.
And I just remember one night he kind of asked, hey, would you like to watch me roast a batch of coffee?
From that moment on, coffee became part of their daily life, something made by hand and shared together, becoming a tradition. And in those everyday moments, an idea started.
And we were both drinking coffee in the kitchen. He's just like, you know, like, you should start a coffee business. Like, I'll help you out.
Harvey's dad had done it before, owning a shop in the 90s called Lafayette Coffee Roasters. Today, Harvey still has those labels, and at 14 years old, he created his own. But on Harvey's 15th birthday, everything changed.
I received a call from my mom that, my dad was unconscious.
His father had had a history of heart disease. He died of a heart attack on Harvey's birthday.
I just remember it all just happened so quickly. I just remember my legs were numb, you don't really feel anything.
In the moments after getting the call, Harvey found himself outside looking at something familiar.
I went outside for a second, looked at the coffee roaster, and coffee was our one bonding thing.
Just weeks later, that bond became something more.
And then I was requested to roast coffee for his funeral. And I kind of realized this is something I want to continue. This is part of his legacy, and this could be part of my legacy.
And that's exactly what he did. Picking the tradition back up with the help from his best friend, Dash, coming back into his life at the right time.
We were able just to work together and just really focus our goals and just build something out of that pain.
The two grew up together, but this chapter brought them even closer.
It's an amazing feeling finding someone who has the same drive and passion as you, because honestly, I think of Dash kind of as my brother.
Harvey is the most determined person I know. He's always working, he's very motivated, and just being around him, it makes me want to work harder.
Now, every Friday they roast, and every Saturday they deliver.
We got some coffee for you, Jill.
And those deliveries,
honestly, his coffee is just dang good.
Are building a loyal customer base.
I've abandoned all my other coffee. It's so good. It actually makes you look forward to getting up in the morning and having that coffee, for sure.
Our customers have always loved our Ethiopian coffee. It's just been a favorite since the very, very start.
The money they earn is helping them save for college and support organizations like Shoes That Grow and the American Heart Association, which is dedicated to fighting heart disease.
It feels like my way of kind of giving back and honoring him.
For many, coffee is just part of a morning routine. But in this Davis backyard, it's proof that some traditions are meant to last. And if you do want some coffee, just look for this story on our ABC 10 website. We put a link right there. As always, thank you so much for watching, for always inviting us into your home. If you have something you think the team and I should be looking into, you already know you can email us at tothepoint@abc10.com. And don't forget, if you do want to catch up on any newscasts or any stories, you can always download our ABC 10 app completely for free wherever you stream. Have a great night. I'll see you right back here tomorrow.